The following act is based on a true story of the great Vaishnava and is related to the history of southern India. We welcome your attention to a short drama on the life of Yamunacharya. Srimad Yamunacharya appeared in this world in the 10th century CE and was the grandson of a Brahmana, Narada Muni, in southern India. At the age of 5, he was sent to the school of the great scholar Bhasyacharya. While at school, he came up as a child of great potentials as well as a high caliber devotee. With great focus and discipline, Yamuna was thus engaged in his studies and his personal and spiritual development.
Oh Krishna, you may make me a beggar or a king. You may gift me fame or infamy, whether people love me or hate me, whether I reach the heavens or whether I dwell in them. Whatever be my situation, may you always be the object of my love and worship. This is the goal of my life. Nothing ever can ever be the goal of my life.
There was one Pandit at that time. His name was Kolahala. He was a Digvijay Pandit. He was so incredibly learned that nobody could defeat him. And thus, his pride was so mountain-like. Now, because he was so expert in juggling words and defeating others, he became the favorite of the king of the Pandya dynasty. The king of the Pandyas really liked him very much. And therefore, the king made a law that any Pandit that is challenged by Kolahala must accept the challenge and must debate him. And he made a decree that anyone who is defeated by Kolahala must pay taxes to the king every year. Bhasyacharya had been defeated by Kolahala and had not paid his taxes for the last 2 years. Hence, the king's messengers came to collect the taxes from him.
Where's your guru?
I am sorry, dear sirs, but my Gurudev is not here. I am the only one here. May I know who you are?
What? You don't know who we are? What audacity! We are the great disciples of the great Kolahala, the greatest of scholars in the universe who has defeated all the men in all directions.
Yes, even the king is controlled by the will of Kolahala. Anyone who defeats has been defeated by Kolahala must pay taxes to the king.
Yes.
Or else he will be put to death. Your teacher Bhasyacharya has been defeated by our all-powerful Guru. And he has not paid taxes for last several years. Is he crazy? Does he know the result of this? Either he may taxes or he may die.
Your Guru is an ignorant fool. How do I know this? If he trains his disciples to be like you, full of pride, arrogance and disrespect, then he is just an ignorant fool. It's not even worth the time. Why should my Guru waste time on such a fool like your Guru? I happen to be the lowest and youngest student of my Guru. I challenge Kolahala for a debate. Let us all see him face me.
What? What nonsense!
You will die!
Kolahala's disciples were shocked with the audacity of Yamunacharya, and they informed this to Kolahala and the king. At the king's palace, the arrogant Kolahala is sitting beside the king and the queen and talking to them.
Did you hear that? A 12-year-old boy is challenging me to a debate. But you must honor the challenge. That is the Brahminical way.
The king then sent a letter to Yamunacharya saying that they have accepted the challenge of the debate and are inviting him to the court.
I will definitely go to the court, but only on one condition. The king should send a royal palanquin to pick me up with armed guards, and all the brahmanas should be singing mantras around it. If the king agrees, only then shall I go for the debate.
Yamuna sent this request to the king in a letter. The king read the letter and agreed. Meanwhile, the whole town of Madurai was amazed with this incident, and majority were thinking that this young boy will be crushed, while others who were defeated by Kolahala were praying to empower this young boy to defeat Kolahala. When Bhaskacharya heard of this, he was very worried. But Yamunacharya assured him that by your mercy, I will be able to defeat Kolahala. On the day of the debate, the king and the queen are seated on their thrones when Yamunacharya enters.
Kolahala is the greatest Pandit. Just like a cat plays and destroys a mouse, that is how he is going to defeat this little boy.
Just like a tiny spark can burn to ashes an entire mountain of cloth, this little Yamuna is going to destroy the pride of Kolahala. He will be Alavandar.
Alavandar? Is this child really going to conquer me?
Alavandara! Alavandara!
What? What chance this 12-year-old boy has against the greatest scholar of the world, Kolahala? But if you say so, then I want to bet with you.
My dear king, if your Kolahala will defeat little Yamuna in the debate, I vow that I will become a servant of your maidservant.
Aha! I vow that if this 12-year-old boy defeats greatest scholar Kolahala, then I will give half of my kingdom away to this boy and make him king. What? This little boy? Are you wanting to debate with me, the undefeated champion of champions, the shark among magicians, the one and only all-knowing scholar, Kolahala?
Why are you laughing? Do you think because I am small, it makes me an inferior scholar to you? Well, if that is your logic, then a water buffalo is a much better scholar than you.
Kolahala was dumbfounded and angry at the little boy. They both began the debate. Kolahala began to challenge Yamuna with simple questions about Sanskrit grammar. And Yamunacharya answered them effortlessly. Then Kolahala began to ask him very sophisticated, difficult, challenging and philosophical questions. And without the slightest effort, Yamunacharya was just answering everything. Through all the prowess of Kolahala, he could not question anything to Yamunacharya that he could not answer with ease.
Why are you asking me such easy questions? Why don't you give me a challenge? If you can't ask me hard questions, then let me ask you some 3 questions. And if you fail to answer these 3 questions, you should accept defeat.
Okay, so you ask me your questions.
I
You
will,
speak, and I will defeat whatever you say.
I will give you 3 propositions. You should defeat and refute all of them with scriptural logic. First, your mother is not a bad woman. Can you defeat this?
What kind of question is this? If I want to defeat him, then I must prove that my mother is a barren woman. If she was a barren woman, then I would not have taken birth.
Oh, you cannot answer my first challenge. I will give you my second one. The king is the most pious and religious man in the whole kingdom. Now defeat this.
What is the saying? The king is sitting right here, and the queen is watching. How can I talk bad about them? If I prove that the king is an impious man, he will surely kill me. It's better I remain silent.
Oh, you cannot answer my second proposition. Well, I'll give you my third one. The queen is the most chaste and faithful woman, only to her husband, the king.
You're making up paradas! You are offending! If I prove that the queen is not a chaste woman, or that the king is an impious man, I will be killed. You should be killed for making such offensive and nonsense arguments. You should die! Now, you defeat your arguments, or you will die. If you offend the king or queen, then your life is finished.
Yes. You should answer these questions or die. At that time, a big argument arose between the disciples of Kolahala and the other assembled people. The disciples of Kolahala were screaming that Yamunacharya should be punished, while the other people were demanding answers from Kolahala and saying that nowhere this rule was there that Yamunacharya must answer his own questions. Kolahala has lost the debate. At that time, Yamunacharya waved his hands and asked everyone to be silent.
I will answer my questions. I will defeat and refute each of my propositions.
But that is impossible. How can you do so without offending anyone?
First one was, my dear Kolahala, that your mother is not a barren woman. According to the Manu Samhita, a woman who has only one child is considered to be a barren woman. And you are the only son to your mother, dear Kolahala. Therefore, according to the Shastras, she is considered to be a barren woman. Second one, the king is the most pious and religious man in the whole kingdom. According to the Manu Samhita, the king has to accept 1/6 of the pious acts of all his citizens and also must accept 1/6 of the impious acts of the whole kingdom. Therefore, and as we know that our king is the most pious and religious man in his personal life, he still, out of his sacrifice and mercy, takes 1/6 of the impious acts of the whole kingdom. Therefore, he is not considered to be supremely pious. Third one, the queen is the most chaste and faithful woman, only to her husband. We all know, my dear Kolahala, that our queen is the very embodiment of chastity. She is the most pure in her heart. But according to the Brahma Samhita, within the king there are 7 principal demigods always present. Therefore, when the queen is serving the king, she is serving 7 other men simultaneously.
Yes, indeed. This little Yamuna has indeed conquered Kolahala.
of victory around him. All the false pride of Kolahala turned into ashes in the fire of Yamunacharya's.
My dear boy, you have intelligently defeated Kolahala. Today, I award you half of my kingdom and make you the king.
For a very long time and was now a fully grown up man. He was very intelligent and defeated all aggressors and has sent his army to expand his kingdom. But slowly, inducing in politics and pursuits of sense enjoyment, Yamuna lost focus and started neglecting the higher values and devotion to God. He forgot that the pristine purpose of life is to cultivate love of God and engage in God's service.
Hey, why is my cup empty? Where is the wine? Bring me more wine. I am the great king of Pandya dynasty, Yamuna. With my intelligence and strength, I can conquer anyone and everyone. Who needs God? Who needs God? Why do I need to go to Him? To bow down in front of Him? If God wants to see me, He should come to my palace. When He looks at my opulence, He will realize who Yamuna is. Come on! Where are the dancing girls gone? Let the music begin! Get me some more wine! I don't want my entertainment to be stopped till I ask you to. Come on! Entertain your king!
Meanwhile, Yamuna's grandfather, the great devotee Natha Muni, who is on his deathbed, is worried for the fate of his grandson. Instructs his dear disciple Ram Mishra to go and save Yamuna from his degraded state of life and the dark future ahead.
Rama Mishra, come here. Rama Mishra, my days are limited now. I am going to leave this body very soon. You know, I want to tell you something. Now listen to me very carefully, Ram Mishra. Because you are my dearmost disciple, I am depending on you for this. You know, I have a grandson called Yamuna, and in his younger years, he was a great devotee of Lord Krishna. Being disciple of Bhattacharya, being a student of Bhattacharya, he was intellectual as well. But now, he's become a great king and he's engrossed in his royal pleasures. Ram Mishra, I want to tell you that he's forsaken. Please help him out because he's deeply involved in his mundane life. Please save him from being a materialist. Please go now and help him. Please save him from the reality of life.
Ram Mishra was the ideal disciple. He took the desire of his guru to his heart and started contemplating the ways ahead to fulfill that desire. Being a poor monk, he did not have access to the king. So he came up with a plan to get the attention and audience of the king Yamuna. King Yamuna's lunch hour is approaching and the chefs are busy cooking his favorite dishes for him. What is Ram Mishra doing here? Let's find out.
5 rice items, 6 paneer, 4 sabjis, and chutneys. They're all ready for a great king. That means what I can prepare for the sweets. Some desserts for the king. Oi, who are you? And what brings you to the king's royal kitchen?
I am the citizen of King Yamuna, and I really very much like to serve him. And I came to know that he likes to eat spinach with his meals. So I bought this very special kind of spinach called Kuduvalai. It is not only delicious, but it also makes one effulgent and helps you think clearly. You might want to cook this for your king and please him.
Spinach. King's loves it very much. If I cook this for the king, he likes it very much. Brother, where have you got the spinach from?
Deep within the forest, there is a small pond, and this spinach grows there in abundance. If you like, I can bring the spinach for you daily.
That would be great.
Yes.
I can cook the spinach preparation for the king daily now. Maybe he will reward me.
Yes.
Thank you, Swamiji.
King Yamuna's lunch hour is approaching. And King Yamuna is having the lunch at the royal dining hall. But let's see, what is he asking for?
Hey, where are my favorite spinach preparations today? Why are they not on the lunch menu? Call that head chef. Huh? So you are that slack cook who forgot to make my favorite spinach? What happened?
Glory to our most merciful king. Maharaj, that monk who used to bring the spinach daily, he did not come today.
Monk? Delivering spinach? Anyway, why didn't you bring spinach today then? Does he want more money? And who is he anyway?
Maharaj, I don't know his name or his address, but he delivers the spinach, fresh spinach daily, every day. He's just bringing the fresh spinach for your good health.
Oh, what a gentleman. He's getting fresh spinach spinach for me daily? Look, the next time you see him, get him straight to me. I want to avoid such a gentleman person. Go right away.
Yes, Maharaj. I will definitely bring him and see him next time. Now that monk used to deliver the spinach daily. He just did not come today, so I'm in trouble now. I have to find a Swamiji. Oh, Swamiji! Hold on. You did not deliver the spinach today. Our king wants to see you. Please come along with me.
Let's go.
Okay. Oh, Maharaj, this is the gentleman I was talking about.
Swamiji, I understand that you have been getting fresh spinach for me daily. And you didn't take any money for that as well. I'm very grateful to you, Swamiji. Please tell me, what can I do for you?
My dear King Yamuna, I have come here to tell you something very important, but in private. A few months ago, your grandfather, Swami Nath Muni, has passed away. But before he died, he told me about a great treasure and ordered me to give that treasure to you at the right time. And I think that now is the right time for you to receive this treasure. So please accept this treasure and relieve me of its burden.
Swamiji, how saintly you are. All this while you knew about the treasure. But in spite of that, you didn't take anything from that treasure. Swamiji, we will go to seek the treasure. I will call my army members right now.
No, King. This treasure is guarded by 7 gates and it's surrounded by 2 rivers. On top of it, there is a many-headed serpent who protects this treasure. Every year, a yaksha comes to make sure that the place is tidy and clean. And the only way to approach this treasure is by chanting of a mantra. I will take you to this treasure, but you must come alone with me.
All right. I understand. We will go alone. Tomorrow early morning, we will leave to seek the treasure.
As you wish, King.
Early next morning, King Yamuna and Ram Mishra leave from the palace for the treasure hunt.
After walking all day, we have reached so far. I think we should camp here for the night. Can you please erect the tent while I perform my Sandhya Aarti, and as per my schedule, I'll read Bhagavad Gita daily.
Okay.
नहि ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रम् इह विद्यते तस्त्वयं योगसंसिद्धिं कालेनात्मनि विन्दति. In this world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is a mature fruit of mysticism. And one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of time. Yes. Ignorance is the cause of bondage, and knowledge is the cause of liberation. One who is situated in this transcendental knowledge need not search for peace anywhere else, for he enjoys the peace within himself. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Swamiji, you are absolutely right. Even though even though I am the king of the Pandya dynasty, even though I have a lot of wealth at my disposal, and even though each and every citizen of my kingdom considers me to be the most perfect king, I know that within my heart I am completely frustrated, unsatisfied and unhappy. Don't be fooled by the smile on my face, Swamiji. I am not happy with it. I am not happy. Swamiji, it seems that I am bound. I am completely bound by the shackles of my royal life. Swamiji, when I was a young boy, I used to read, recite and study Bhagavad Gita daily. I used to experience a lot of serenity at that time. But with the passage of time, I lost this habit. And with that, I lost all the serenity in my life. But today, after hearing that beautiful verse from your mouth, I am experiencing sweet pangs of nostalgia.
Om Namo Narayana. Om Namo Narayana.
Swamiji,
Yes.
you are a saintly person. Please tell me how can I get that inner peace, that satisfaction again in my heart? I have all these achievements, but they are of no use because I am unhappy with them.
My dear King Yamuna, Lord Narayan, he advises us in Bhagavad Gita that the key to freedom from mental and emotional bondage is through through the cultivation of transcendental knowledge. And thus, by developing this knowledge, when you establish yourself in the loving devotional service of Lord Narayana, you will then able to see the life's progress and not be overwhelmed by your royal duties.
I can understand this message, Swamiji, I appreciate that. But it is not possible now because I am completely attached to wine and women. I see no hope for me. I am a lost case, Swamiji, I am a lost case.
My dear Yamuna, you are not a lost case. In front of Lord Narayana's unlimited mercy, everyone is assured of complete success. In fact, by meditating on Lord Narayana, you will develop divine love for him. He says in Bhagavad Gita, Vitaraga bhaya krodha manmaya mam upashrita bahavo jnana tapasa utamad bhavam ashrita. Thus, we must take help from him and depend on him. He will take care of all your sins and give you this highest treasure.
Thank you. Thank you, Swamiji, thank you. But please tell me how can I meditate on Lord Narayan? And what does it mean to actually meditate on him?
That is a very good question. Very good question indeed. Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he advises us how to meditate on him and the result of such meditation. He says, Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshayishyami ma shucha.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Swamiji. Thank you so much. I am really, really grateful to you for implanting this wondrous transcendental knowledge again in my heart. Swamiji, when I was young, I knew about it. I had read about it. But with the passage of time, I completely lost this knowledge in the presence of name, fame and all these sensual pleasures. But after hearing the supreme spiritual science from a genuine spiritual guide like you. I'm feeling the real transformative impact happening in my heart, Swamiji.
Om Namo Narayana. Let's continue our journey. I will teach you how to chant this mantra. Om Namo Narayana.
Om Namo
So they went through the 7 gates in the holy Kshetra of Sri Rangam.
Om Narayana.
Om Namo Narayana.
So when your grandfather, he passed away, this was the only treasure that he wanted me to give it to you.
And they saw Ananta Sesha, who was guarding Lord Vishnu, and every year, Yaksha comes. Make sure everything is in order. Thus, by chanting the holy name of Lord Narayana, Yamunacharya was given the darshan of Sri Ranganatha Swami.
Thank you, Gurudev, thank you. Thank you, Lord Narayan, thank you. Oh Lord Narayan, how foolish I indeed was that I forgot you for the sake of these temporal gains and material pleasures. But now that I have understood my mistakes, please accept me as your servant. Adavadhi mama chetah Krishna padarvinde nava rasadhamaniptarantum asit tadavadhi patanari sangame smaryamane bhavati mukha vikarah sushtu nishtivanam. Ever since I have been engaged in the loving service of Lord Narayan and realized the ever increasing pleasure coming out of it. Whenever I think of sexual pleasure, I spit at the thought and my lips curl in distaste.
Exemplifying complete surrender to Narayana, Yamuna never returned to his kingdom again. With great vigor, and he engaged in the process of Krishna consciousness to rekindle his lost love for Narayana and became the most celebrated Acharya in the Sri Vaishnava tradition. He wrote a brilliant book called Shotra Ratna in the Sanskrit language. Hundreds and thousands of people have treaded the path of his teachings and have attained the highest destination of life. Sri Ranganatha Swami ki Jai! Yamunacharya ki Jai! Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna everyone. Thank you so much for coming here to witness this drama. Thank you so much Maharaj for coming and blessing the actors. So we would like to call on the actors on stage and we would like to introduce them. They have put so many weeks of practice and they really worked hard to present this drama in front of you. So I would like to call the actors one by one on stage. First I would like to start with our youngest actor who acted as little Yamunacharya, Uttara. Then I would like to call both the messengers. Ashok Prabhu was messenger 1 and the king and queen. Suvarna Krishna Prabhu was the king and the queen. And now I would like to call the proud scholar Kolahala. So Dhanush acted as the proud scholar Kolahala. And now I would like to call our lead main character adult Yamunacharya. And that was Brajbhav Prabhu acting. Nathamuni's role was done by Naveen Gauranga Prabhu. And Nathamuni's disciple, sincere and earnest disciple Rama Mishra, his role was done by Karuna Avatar Prabhu. And the head chef, hard-working cook, whom the king was giving a hard time, the role was done by our own Janeshwar Prabhu. But not the least, our most adorable and dear Lord Ranganath's role was done by Gaurav. We would also like to thank Nachu Mataji who did the role of the narrator. And I also would like to call on stage two Matajis who have worked really hard backstage arranging all the props, costumes, jewellery. So that is Amala Manjari Mataji and Gopeshwari Mataji. And also sitting here Prabhasada Prabhu who helped us with the mic system. Sitting near him is Radha Sanghi Mataji who helped us compile all the music with the help of Gaurav. And last but not the least, we would like to thank Gaurav Sharma Prabhu who scripted this whole drama for us. So thank you so much to all the actors for working so hard, and thank you so much to all the devotees for coming and blessing them and seeing this drama and encouraging all the actors. Very good.
We would also like to thank Yamuna Leela Mataji. Without her guidance and direction, we would not have been able to put together this drama. And also for our second director, which is Yamuna Sundari Mataji over there.
Thank you. A big round of applause for the team.